Was almost on mute there for a second, and that would have been a travesty. What's up, everybody, and hello, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. Oh, sorry, some technical difficulties. I'm your host, Mike, as always, and today we're going to be doing an end of year recap. If anyone in the chat could just let me know that my audio is working all right, that would be great. Wasn't sure if it was fully plugged in or not. And we're going to hop right in. So we're going to do three things during this video. You guys are welcome to talk in the chat. I'll try to converse with you. I hope it's a little more interactive. A lot of things to talk about. Been a good year, a long year, a crazy year. So we'll talk about it now. So we're going to start off with just my betting year. We're going to go over all my stats. You guys have it open in front of you right now on Bet MMA. We're going to go through each category, talk about it. I'm going to talk about what I want to improve, what I think I did well, just recap it, talk about some accomplishments we made this year. And then we're going to go into our next portion of it, which is the awards. We're going to talk about our Couch Warrior Awards, what we thought about the year. And then we're going to close it off with some predictions for 2023, just for the championships and the pound for pound king. So we're going to talk about that when we get there. So yeah, we can start off right here. We'll talk about some of our accomplishments first. We started this YouTube channel 11 months ago. It's pretty dope to me. Every single video since we started is still up. You can see just how terrible I was in the beginning. And, you know, I like to think I got quite a bit better in front of a camera. Hope to keep improving that. We're at plus 380 subscribers right now on YouTube. It's nice. Hopefully we keep growing there. And we're just over 700 Twitter followers right now as well, which is also dope. Slowly growing. Really crazy year. Never thought I'd be doing this, honestly. If you told me 2 years ago that I'd have a YouTube channel and I'd be doing fight stuff, I would have told you, like, F off. But here we are. And it's been really dope. So I'm extra proud of this year because of this number right here. The plus 117 all-time profit for units, 6% ROI. I do wish the ROI was better, and that's my biggest goal for next year is to improve the ROI, pick our spots a little bit better. I think it's really important to do that, and I am a volume better. I bet a lot of volume, and that's why my ROI isn't great. I'm going to start dialing that down a little bit, start looking for spots a little bit more. Now, in terms of the number here, plus 117 on the year, the reason I'm proud of it is because we started this year off terrible. I just kept losing. And at a certain point, I was like minus 20 units, something like that all time. So we've made a really, really big climb, over 130 unit climb. And I'm pretty proud of that. So our average odds were plus 134. We do like our dogs here. We've hit 46% of our bets, and we were wrong 54% of the time, and yet we were still profitable at 117 units, and that's because we hit dogs. In terms of straight fight picks, props, parlays, all the percentages there are just about the same, so it seems like our performance there has been just about equal. I would say that I think my prop game is improving. I wasn't much of a prop guy about a year ago, and now I've been trying to hit those more often, play those more often, and I think I'm getting better. Now, next we'll talk about this stuff right here, the straight pick stats, all of this stuff. So I'm proud of this too, because our biggest number is the big underdogs. I don't remember exactly how they have it defined, but I believe it's like over plus 250 or plus 300 is a big underdog, something like that. So we've hit 43 of those bets, been right 32% of the time, and we turned a 17% ROI there with a 14 unit profit. Slight underdogs, also decent, but not as good, 4% ROI. Slight favorites, 5%, and big favorites, 6% ROI. So we're really going to be targeting these big underdogs, slight underdog spots. I want to get better at slight underdogs. That's my worst category on here, and it's something that I do struggle with when it's like a very close like line, like maybe like minus 130, plus 115, right? I can have some difficulties with those plays. So definitely want to improve on that. Yeah, and then in terms of stuff down here, I don't really think there's much for us to talk about. The chart looks great. And sorry, we're going to head on over to the handicapper stats where they're going to give us some more stuff. to talk about. All right. So all this is just the events that happened recently, how we've done. So winning events 97, losing events 95, average staked per event 9.97 units. Okay, this number right here, most staked on one event, 99.5 units. Like you see that and you're like, what the hell? You bet your whole bankroll. This was, I believe, when Habib fought last, something like that. And I just wasn't good at this yet. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And I bet my entire bankroll and tracked it. So that's one of my biggest mistakes. I don't think it was this year though, but yeah, definitely come a long way from there, huh? Definitely come a long way from there. Average stake now just under 10 units, which I'm very happy with. Our best event is 28 units. Our worst event is 22. I believe that was the night where I max bet Cyril Gane against Francis Ngannou. And yeah, we all saw how that turned out when Francis Nurmagomedov pulled up, averaging a profit of 0.61 units per event. It's because we're betting very small on these regional scenes. So I believe that's why it's like that. And max win streak, 7 events, max losing streak, 7 events, but the losing streak is slightly worse. All right. Now on the year 2022, 92 units won, 7% ROI, won 61.5. What is that? I don't even know what that fully means. 8% of our 8% ROI on the year for straight bets. For parlays, it's 2% ROI on the year, and it doesn't show our prop ROI here for some reason. Now, this is fun. Profit loss by organization. UFC 7% ROI, 94.2 units won all time. Makes sense. It's what we bet the most. Now, Bellator, we really, really got to improve. That's one of my goals for next year. I'm getting good at PFL, right? I'm starting to understand how underdogs there work, how to find those spots. I'm getting better at regional scenes. I do so much of those. I feel like I'm getting better. Today, I did get reverse swept in ACA. Can't win everything, but been doing pretty well. And we've got CW coming up. Maybe Bellator Risen will give us lines here in America. And so we might still have 2 more betting events, but Bellator is our weak spot. Down 15.8 units there all time, minus 11 ROI percent. My thing there, though, is I wish I could see it for just this year, because I do think we did better in Bellator this year than we did last year, because I was just like going after all the heavy favorites last year. Like I've come a long way. I'm very proud of it. If you look through my BetMMA page, if you go all the way to the beginning, you'll see tons of beginner mistakes, tons of stuff where you're like amateur, because I was an amateur and I still am an amateur in my opinion. I don't think I'm a professional, but I'm improving constantly, and that is my goal. So PFL up 17.4 units all time, 36% ROI. Love it. Feel like PFL really gives you a chance to find these good dog spots. I don't think the books have completely figured it out yet. And just the way the matchups go, like it's been pretty good for us. Hit a lot of dog spots there. My favorite bet there was Omari Akhmedov versus Josh Silveira as an underdog. I think I played him for like 4 units. I don't do that on underdogs often. And, I was just that confident and it hit. Now, other promotions, 20.4 units to profit, 7% ROI. Want to improve that, but I'm pretty happy with our progress on the regionals. So we already spoke about the straight pick stats. I don't think it's important really betting stats by card position. The weight classes are fun though. So if you look at it, my worst weight class is men's featherweight. Well, for men, it's men's featherweight. Minus 10% ROI. And yeah, I need to figure out why. I don't know exactly why that's my worst one. Lightweight is the decent one for me. Bantamweight, 14%, pretty good. I don't know why it's minus 10 on featherweight. Got to go back to the drawing board, look at the featherweight bets I made, and go from there. I feel like I've made some decent ones. I'm sure some of that has to do with, I'll talk about it later, one of my worst bets, Giga over Cater. I'm sure that hurt. I also bet Barbosa over Giga, but I think that was last year. But this does take into account all time, not just the years, unfortunately. That would be dope if we could also filter it by year. But my best one, light heavyweight, 16%. Bantamweight, second place, 14%. Flyweight, 12%. For women, featherweight is 66%, but like, does that really mean much? There's not many women's featherweight fights. 16% on bantamweight, that's dope. Minus 19 on strawweight, so that's our worst weight class across men and women. And got to look back at that as well. I mean, I think I have had a hard time with it a little bit. A little bit of overconfidence on Rose in the Esparza fight. That was one. Off the top of my head, I just don't remember, but definitely a weight class I need to improve on. And let's see if there's anything else to talk about. Yeah, so these are just like the the different kinds of props and how we did on them. So that's actually pretty interesting. I was going to talk about later how I want to improve on totals, but it looks like I'm decent at them. 11% ROI on totals plus 11.7 units. I'm going to talk about that. I want to get better there. I thought I'm not great at it. I didn't check these particular numbers before I started the show, but that's something I got to look back at. Goes to decision, 6.1, 51% ROI. All right, that's pretty good. Let's see. Fight starts round 3. I almost never bet these. 33% doesn't mean much to me, even though it's a good number. Fight doesn't start. Yeah, I've done both of these only one time each, and it seems like they both hit. So like these numbers don't mean all that much. Let's see. KO props, 31%. 31 unit profit, 40%. That's pretty dope. 11% ROI on sub props, not as good. Decision props we suck at. Look at that, minus 22%, minus 15 units. Going to work on that. That's a big one. And our worst number down here, X wins in round X. You know, that's an important number to see because X wins in round X is those third round props I'm playing. And to see that all time, oh, that was by accident. To see that all time I'm down like 31 units on those props, that is pretty important for me to see because I bet only 1/10 of a unit each time when I'm doing round 3 props. And for it to be that low, it's got to be pretty bad. So definitely something I want to work on. I don't know why it says minus 1200 here. That seems incorrect. But regardless, that's something we got to definitely clean up on for if we want to improve our ROI. Now, let's see. Anything else left to talk about here? Not really. So we're going to go back to this page. All right. And we'll move on. So what I did well this year, in my opinion, unit sizing, I actually thought I did pretty good. We go, if it's good confidence, solid, moderate confidence, like I really do think they should win around 4 units. Very confident 6, max bet 10, only done it twice. Irene Aldana, Cyril gone. Won't be doing it again for a while, probably. Let's see. I don't overplay underdogs, which I think is a good thing. Like it's a slippery slope, right? Because if you're hitting underdogs at a good rate, but you're only playing them for a half unit and you're playing heavy favorites for 3 units, it can be counterproductive, but you can also mess up by putting too many units, right? You put 4 units, 2 units on big dogs, like they're dogs for a reason oftentimes. So it's a slippery slope. I've gotten better at being able to put down a unit and not being too upset about it if it loses on a dog. Sometimes 2 units if I feel confident. Like I said earlier, Omari Akhmedov, 4 units as a dog against Silveira was my biggest underdog bet, I believe. And I don't normally do that. So I do think my unit sizing is good. Round props, like long shot props, keep it at 0.1%, 0.1 unit most of the time. But we just saw those numbers. I got to stop doing that. Now, hitting dogs, mentioned that. I think I did that well as well. And profiting on regionals. I'm proud of my regional work for this year. As for what I want to improve, already mentioned it a few times, our ROI. Already highlighted a few ways we can do that, including stopping our round props. Get better at totals. Spoke about that as well. Looks like my total numbers are actually decent, but I do still want to improve. I definitely want to get better at the decision props. So those are some things to look at. And this is a big one. I want to focus more on finishers this year. We've seen MMA judging. We're going to talk about it later. We're in disarray right now because there's guidelines, there's courses, but yet it still seems like there's no like universal just like way to look at fights and judge them. I just don't get it. Something that I think about that might be a problem, we're watching on the TV, we see every angle pretty much. They're on each side of the cage, right? Like there's three of them spread out on sides of the cage. It makes sense that they're going to be missing a lot of things. And I've considered like why don't they give them like a screen so they can watch like we do, but then they can miss important moments that they would have seen looking in person, right? So it's also difficult, but because of the way judging is, I don't want to be betting on a lot of decisions. I don't want to be betting on a lot of guys who are going to go to decision. I'm going to try to focus on finishers just for that reason. And so we don't have to be so upset about robberies. But that's it for our betting recap. Some new things to come for the show next year. I'm trying to get us a cool intro. I'm going to start doing Twitter Spaces every week. Going to decide what day for that. As of now, the show is remaining on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know yet exactly what my schedule next year is going to look like. So I got to figure that out before we know for sure. But as of now, that's staying. And we are going to get one more show this year, probably out of me. I'm going to do a Cage Warriors 148 breakdown. It's probably going to come out next week. Maybe Sunday, probably not. Probably more like Monday. Yeah, so we'll move on to the more fun stuff. That was a little bit laborious and boring, but now we can talk about awards, superlatives, what I thought of this year. So first off, for my own bets, my worst bets, there's a few of them I wanted to talk about. Giga Shikadze over Calvin Kattar. That's definitely one. Don't know what I was thinking there. Really just bit into I bet Barbosa against Giga, and then once the Giga fight once Giga won that fight, I was like, oh man, like maybe I just misread him. And then against Kattar, like I got in my own head about it, played Giga, and it was a bad play. Nunes over Sam Hughes. I say it's a bad play because I played it for 4 units, like a big dummy at like minus 240 or something. Terrible play. And Jake Collier over Barnett. I mean, I played quite a few units on Collier just because I was like, I mean, how is Barnett going to win this? And Barnett won. I mean, it was incredible, but a terrible bet on my part. My favorite bet this year, my best bet in my opinion, Marcin Tybura over Alexander Romanov. Tybura was like a plus 300 dog, and I felt very, very confident. I had like 2 units on him, something like that, and we hit that. That was super dope. Now, worst beat and luckiest beat. So I'll start with luckiest beat, meaning like we got a robbery our way. It was the Arlovsky versus Collier fight. We did have Arlovsky. Collier won that fight clearly, but Arlovsky got the dub, and I felt very dirty. I wanted to like reimburse everybody, but I do not have money to do that, and that would make no sense. But I just felt terrible. Like people lost so much bread, and it wasn't right. But that was my best beat. My worst beat, there were 2 I wanted to talk about. I guess 3. Jared Gordon, we all just went through that a few weeks ago. That sucked. In my opinion, Jared Gordon very clearly won that fight. Was it the worst robbery ever? Maybe not, but I do think it was pretty darn bad. Let's see. Sorry. Then I played Bresky. What is his name? Lucas Bresky, something like that, against Martin Budai at like plus 250. Also high confidence. I did it for like, I think 2 units. And he won that damn fight. He won that fight. And man, that was a robbery. It sucked. But Bresky, that one. And then the last worst beat is the Izzy loss for me. I had a decent amount on Izzy against Pereira. Was winning that fight. And, it's MMA. Pereira pulled up and got that 5th round dub. So those are those. And then my favorite hits of the year, I've got 3 that I'm really proud of. Matt Semmelsberger last week. I mean, look at that guy. Look at that guy. Spoke about it with Wiz Bets on my channel. We both felt Semmelsberger was being disrespected by the odds. I'll be honest. I still thought Matthews would probably edge out the dub. I just thought it would be very close, and I liked the odds. But wow, Semmelsberger pulled up. That was dope. Then my favorite round 3 prop or long shot prop, Devin Clark, round 3 over William Knight, plus 2,400. Binked that one. And then, oh, we hit Kevin Holland by sub against Means. That was dope because I was there live. Didn't write that one down, though. And then probably my favorite is Edwards by KO. I was sitting with my girlfriend's family explaining to them why I played Edwards as he was getting bopped by Usman. And then, boom. I was like delayed too on the I almost said something that would have gotten me in trouble with Dana. Not that Dana would ever watch this, but while I was watching, it was delayed, and people just texted me like, "Yo!" and I had no idea what they were talking about. And then, bink. So that was my favorite hit. Now, superlatives for the UFC fighters themselves. Male fighter of the year for me, Islam Makhachev. I mean, nonstop all year. He hasn't fought nobody. He doesn't deserve a title shot. He doesn't deserve this, and that. All this hate to him, and pulls up. Say what you want about his resume. Dominated Charles Oliveira, who was dominant before that. Won a bunch of fights really quickly. Maybe not the most dominant performances because he got knocked down each time, but he subbed them or finished them. So that was impressive for me. Definitely Islam fighter of the year for me. I know a lot of people picked Pereira. I don't share that thought, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like it was very impressive, but at the end of the day, in my eyes, Izzy was still winning. So does that make Pereira my fighter of the year? He's second place to Islam for me. I like Islam here. Now, my female fighter of the year got to be Weili Zhang. I mean, she stole me away from Rose. Rose is my favorite female fighter. That's no longer the case. She lost me as a fan after that last performance. It wasn't so much the performance. It was just the behavior after, during, the whole mess with her husband, coach, whatever, boyfriend, coach. It just lost me as a fan. Wei Li, on the other hand, I mean, look at the woman. She's such a little beast. She's been like, she wanted her title back, and she came back and she got it dominantly. She's got to be my female fighter of the year. My biggest surprises of the year, got a few of these. So the first one, Kraus fixing a fight. I could have never guessed that. I mean, what the hell happened there? Not going to harbor on it. It's, it is what it is. So many people have already spoken about it who know more about the topic than I do. But Kraus fixing a fight is definitely my biggest surprise of the year. Gonna pause real quick to say what up to my guy Kiarix. Probably my first ever like actual viewer who would pull up to my shows. So thank you to Kiarix. I appreciate you, brother. Some of his favorite bets this year were Tybura and Landwehr. I am assuming it was Landwehr over Onama. So you got me there. I bet Onama. Great play on Landwehr. Fantastic play. And Tybura, we were together. I really do think that was a really, really good spot. Really hype about that one. I got a few other surprises for the year, though. We've got the Jiri submission. I mean, come on. Who thought that would happen? Pereira KOing Izzy. I know for a lot of people it wasn't a surprise. For me, I felt very confident in Izzy, so that was a surprise to me. Sean beating Peter Yan. I mean, that was surprising. And I say beat because I'm a huge Peter Yan fan. He's like my favorite fighter, one of. And at the time, like everyone else, I was screaming robbery. And I still kind of think it was a robbery, but I can see an argument for Sean for sure. So that was definitely a surprise for me. And then obviously Leon Edwards' last second KO over Usman. That was shocking, awesome. Just really a crazy thing that happened this year. Next up, we got breakout fighter of the year. There's a few. I'm laughing because my first one is someone. Oh my goodness, I gotta say this one, Roman Dolidze, right? I mean, what the hell? He's on the ultimate meme run right now. He's just memeing his way to a title shot, and I don't believe in his skill set, but that's been costing me a ton of money. I should love the guy. He's Roman Ukraine. I mean, oh my God, Georgian Ukrainian. I'm Ukrainian. My girlfriend's Georgian, so should love him, but I keep trying to fade him because I don't think he's that good. And he's doing his thing, and here he is. So I got to say he's definitely made a breakout. Pavlovich, been hearing this one a lot, but it makes sense, right? Just came kind of out of nowhere, knocked out Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa. That's pretty impressive. And then I've got a few others. Topuria, I don't know if it's so much of a breakout, though. I already expected him to be like this. I just think he's been looking all-time great for him this year. At his peak would be a better way to say that. Tsarukian for me, definitely also. I mean, some people already understood him last year, understood how good he is. He did lose this year to Gamrot, but I think he showed everybody this past event against Demir what he's all about. I mean, dude's a stud, and I do think he's going to challenge for the strap next year. And then Blanchfield, got to bring in at least one woman fighter, and she deserves it very much. Definitely a breakout fighter of the year for me there. Just a very dominant girl, and I'm hyped to see what happens in the Santos fight. I do think it's a little too much too soon. I'm probably going to back Santos, but it's going to be really dope to watch. And I mean, if she wins that, she might actually have a chance to become champion next year. So that'll be dope. Most improved. This one was a little bit hard for me. I wasn't really sure, and I went with two weird ones, I guess. Cheeto Vera for me, that's one. I just think he keeps getting better and better. And I mean, like, I don't like low output guys, even though he's not that low output, but I don't like guys who focus on counters, who start slow. And he does those things, but man, the danger he's been putting guys in, the knockouts, damage. I mean, you gotta give him props. So that's one for me. And the other one's Sean O'Malley. He's getting better. It's just a fact. I mean, look at him. He was already really good, and he got a lot of crap, rightfully so, in my opinion. He deserved some crap, but now I think he deserves all the props he's getting, even if that was a robbery. Like I said, I think there is an argument to be made for Sean. I say this having backed Peter Yan very heavily there, but I do think O'Malley's improved big time this year too. Best KO, again, beating a dead horse, but you got to say it's Leon Edwards just because of the circumstances, the way it happened, the build up in the corner, his coach telling him not to feel sorry for himself. Just the whole thing is like a movie moment. So definitely the best KO. Best sub, going to be pretty basic here. It's got to be Jiri to me. I mean, to submit Glover Teixeira in round number 5, it's incredible. And then Islam in second place there. I mean, the way he bopped Charles and subbed him, just fantastic. Most dominant performances. So I just said one, Islam, but that won't be on my list here. I've got 3 that I liked. I think the most dominant was Chimaev over Holland. I mean, ran right through him, just ran right through him. Like he was just a dummy he could throw around. Kiarix real quick. Luque was one of his worst bets of the year. Me too. I lost there. And that's I missed that. Breakout fight of the year for me, low key, is Bilal Muhammad. Like, dude, I actually want him to fight for a strap, and he actually made a fan out of me. I know people don't like Bilal. I kind of like Bilal quite a bit now, and I do think he broke out this year. That Sean Brady win. Let's go. Let's go, Bilal. That was super dope. And then Andrade sub over Lemos. That's another one for sub of the year for sure up there. I mean, I think that's the only standing, blanking on the name right now, but the only standing one of that in the UFC, I believe. So that's dope. And then the other dominant performances I noticed, Kakramanov over Ronnie Lawrence. That was very dominant, especially considering Lawrence was a slight favorite, I believe. And like people really felt that Lawrence was going to out wrestle him, and look what happened. And then Cater over Giga. Spoke about this a bit before. I mean, that was so dominant. He Max Holloway'd him, which was very impressive. Fight of the year for me, I know a lot of people like Glover and Jiri. Dope fight. But for me, it's Burns and Hamzat. Just the build up for that. The fact we finally got some answers on Hamzat. And just like the way the fight played out, it was awesome. I'm glad he didn't wrestle too much. I'm glad we got to watch both of them strike. And honestly, I hope we see that fight again. That was my fight of the year. Worst decisions of the year. They're going to be the ones I lost money on. I guess we'll throw in Arlovsky Collier there as well. I believe that was this year. Gordon and Breshke. Those are the ones I think were the worst. And then that's it for superlatives. Real quick, we're going to run through my predictions for next year, and we're going to get out of here. Thank you to everybody who's watching right now. You guys are why I do this, and I appreciate all of you. So 2023 predictions for champions. So my flyweight one, I think it's going to be a little different than most. It's Marab. And you're like, Mike, that's the wrong weight class. I think he's actually going to end up going down. I don't really want him to, but I get why. I think Sterling's going to stay at bantamweight for a little bit. So if Marab goes down, I think he's going to run through the flyweight division and become champion. If not, Figgy. But I low-key think it's going to be Marab. Bantamweight champion, I think Sterling is going to remain champ. There's just too many questions about. I think the only one who can beat him is Peter Yan, and I just don't know what's going on in that guy's head right now or with his life. So going to stick with Sterling for bantamweight champion at the end of 23. For featherweight, I think it's going to remain Volkanovski. I do think my guy Topuria will challenge. I just don't think he's quite there yet to beat Volkanovski. Lightweight, I don't think Islam's going anywhere at all. Mike, how about the Shafkat CLV closing line value? What's the line at right now? I mean, the line hasn't closed yet, so. Oh, mamma mia. Minus 500. I played it at like minus 3 something. I max bet that. Oh, literally earlier in this video, I said I'm not max betting for a little while. And then I realized just now my I have a max bet on the first event of the year. Shows you my memory. It's not great. But back to the predictions for next year. So welterweight, I think it's going to be Usman unless Khamzat remains at welterweight. I'm not sure what he's doing. Honorable mention there is Shafkat. I low-key think he's going to challenge as well. And Shafkat versus Usman is really interesting to me. Right now, I have to say it would still be Usman. But this Neil fight will definitely help with that. But right now, I'm going to predict Usman unless Khamzat stays at welterweight. Then I think Khamzat will be champion. Middleweight, same thing with Khamzat. If he goes up to middleweight rather than stays at welterweight, I think he will be champion, regardless of whether he's fighting Pereira or Izzy. If Khamzat doesn't go up, though, I think Izzy's going to get his strap back. Light heavyweight, I didn't want to say this one, but I kind of think it's what's going to happen. I think Ankalaev is going to crawl back to a title shot again and win via wrestling this time. I don't really see who's going to be able to deal with that. Jiri's going to get out grappled, I think. Hill is my honorable mention. I think Hill's going to become champ low-key right now against Glover. And then I feel like he might lose that to Ankalaev, but who knows? I'd have to tape it first. But right now, my prediction is Ankalaev. For heavyweight, I was torn on this one because there's honestly so many options, especially with John Jones coming back. But I don't know if he's coming back. I don't know what he's going to look like, so I can't predict him. I'm going to predict Blades as heavyweight champion end of 2023. I think he can do it. Dude's an absolute stud. And if Gon hasn't fixed his takedown defense, I mean, he's effed. If you got out grappled like that against Ngannou, I mean, Blades is going to dominate you. And then for the women predictions, women's strawweight, I actually think it's going to be Tatiana Suarez. She did say she's coming back this year. And if she does, I kind of think she's going to take the strap away from Weili again. If not, I think Weili is going to keep her belt. For flyweight, I think it's probably going to end up being Tayla Santos. I think she's going to beat Blanchfield. I think she's going to rematch Shevchenko, and I think she's going to beat Shevchenko again. And it's a tough one because if Blanchfield wins their fight, I think she might end up being champ. But I'm going to predict Santos. For women's bantamweight, Nunes, I don't think she's going anywhere. Women's featherweight, I think they're going to kill the division, honestly. It seems like that's what they're working on right now. And honestly, if they get rid of women's featherweight, I hope that instead they make a women's atomweight division. There's so many women down at that weight class who are really good and exciting and throw hands. And because it's hard for women to knock each other out at that weight class, it's hard for anyone at the lower weight classes to knock each other out. They go ham. It's just wars at 105. So if they get rid of 145, I hope they make a 105 for the women. And then for pound king, my prediction is Islam. I think that he's going to defeat Volk at 155. Volk is daring to be great. Very dope of him, but I don't think he's going to win that fight. And I think Islam is going to end the year as the pound for pound king. So that's it. That's our end of year show, our recap for 2022, some predictions for 23. Once again, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for all your support this year. Couldn't be here without you. And yeah, have a good one. Make sure to tune into the CW video when it comes out, probably next week. And yeah, have a good weekend, guys, and good luck with any bets you're making on any sports.